All right, so I'm doing that as well. So what I'm going to show you today is some of these terms that we are going to be using. So here's our first one here. We're going to look at superior and inferior. So superior and inferior, those talk about going up or going towards the head for superior, or going towards the feet for inferior. So a couple ways that you can use that today is that my nose is superior to my mouth. My nose is towards the top of my mouth. My chin is inferior to my mouth. My chin's down here. My chin is superior to my heart, chest. My belly button is inferior to my chest. So those are how you tell up and down. Superior towards your head, inferior going away from your head to your toes. The next one I'd like to go through this one actually gives you 4 terms. Anterior, or over here, anterior or ventral, and posterior, there is it, posterior or dorsal. There we go. Everything's backwards on my screen. So, anterior. Anterior means going towards the front. I'm in anatomical position now. Remember that anatomical position. I'm standing up, straight. My feet are slightly apart. Arms at the side, palms facing forward, my thumbs out. Right? So there's proper anatomical position. I'm showing you right now the anterior part of my body. There's my anterior. Here is my posterior. So that's the back part of my body. I'm also showing you ventral. Same thing, because I am on 2 feet. Here is my ventral part, and then the back is my dorsal part. How do we use these? My nose is anterior to the back of my head. My nose is in front of my head. My nose is anterior or ventral to my ears. My chest is anterior to my spine. My belly button is anterior to the lumbar area, right at the bottom part of your back. Dorsal or posterior. The back of my head is posterior to my nose. My shoulder blades, there's my shoulder blade right here. On the back here, there's my shoulder blade. My shoulder blade is posterior to my chest. My lumbar area is posterior to my belly button. My belly button right there. So those are anterior, posterior, or ventral and dorsal. You can use these in between. You can use them interchangeably. I prefer anterior and posterior, but I will switch every once in a while. On your test coming up on Friday, I will be looking at, well, maybe a question will show, well, what means towards the front? I might only give you anterior. Some things to think about. Another thing I want to talk about. Medial and lateral. Oh, my little medial. That's D right there. So medial and lateral. Medial means towards the middle. Towards the middle. So you think of this as a line that goes up and down. There's my middle. Medial towards that midline. Lateral means going away from that midline. And so if I'm using these things, I'm saying my heart is medial to my arms. My lungs are lateral to my heart. dorsal side. My shoulder blades, here's my shoulder blades right here, are lateral to my spine. My spine is right here. My belly button is medial to the sides. My neck is medial to my shoulders. My nose is medial to my ears. My ears are lateral to my nose. You can use these back and forth, medial and lateral. The last one I want to do with you are the harder ones. Oh, you haven't seen it yet. There we go. Proximal and distal. So when I'm talking about proximal and distal, I'm looking at from the point of attachment. So my arms are attached right here. And if I was growing inside my mom's uterus, I started from this worm-like thing. Yes, you look like kind of a worm, then you look like this thing with a tail. It looked really weird. But my arm grew from here, from my body. So that's where it's attached to, right here. And so I have my closest point of attachment. I also have to remember the words that I use, because that's important. Let's start. My elbow is proximal to my wrist. Meaning, in anatomical position, my elbow is closer to here than my wrist is. So my elbow is proximal to my wrist. That's what it means. But my wrist is distal to my elbow. Wait. You said it was proximal before. No, listen to the words. I'm using elbow and wrist differently. My elbow is proximal to my wrist, but my wrist is distal to my elbow. Remember, all right here. All comes back to that. My wrist is proximal to my palm of my hand. Palm of my hand is further away to here than this is. My fingers are distal to my wrist. That's how it's done. Now I get to do something crazy. I know what you guys are saying. Maybe he's going to fall down. And I haven't yet today. Remember, I'm in anatomical position. You can even see my feet now. They're slightly apart. So here, anatomical position. And when I'm dealing with my legs and proximal and distal, it's the same thing. My legs are attached right here at my hips. And so my knee is proximal to my ankle. There's my ankle all the way down there. My ankle, all the way down here, is proximal to my toes. My toes are distal to my ankle. When dealing with the legs in an anatomical position, there's my arms, there's my legs, the point of attachment, and the point of attachment, proximal and distal, can be really confusing for you. Lastly, I want to talk about ipsilateral and contralateral. Now, so there was some confusion on it, probably my fault. And so I wanted to say that ipsilateral means on the same side of your body. So this point here and this point here are on the same side. Remember that midline. Ipsilateral. Maybe it's here and here. Both of those. Ipsilateral. Contralateral means on opposite sides of the body. So my eyes are contralateral. My ears are contralateral. This point here and this point here are contralateral on opposite sides of the body. Now, do you guys have any questions?